What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York, calling from the quarantine zone again, and this time we got Simon of Carnation. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, man. Good evening.
Yep. It's so awesome to have you here. So, Where Death Lies is the newest album. It sounds absolutely insane. Was there kind of like a thought process with the making of this album? Like, really, how did Where Death Lies sort of come to be? Let's just start with that.
We've been touring for 2 years with Chapel of Abhorrence, and most of the ideas for the new album actually came while we were in between tours or in between festivals and stuff. And I think we learned a lot from playing the first album live for such a long time. I think we definitely learned what we liked about the first album and the things we felt that needed some improvements. And that's how we found out like what kind of things we wanted to add, kind of things we wanted to avoid maybe. And that's really how we went into the creation of the 9 songs on the second one. Mm-hmm. We definitely, in my opinion, we improved a lot in our instruments, I would say, in our vocal skills and stuff. For example, Jonathan, he's been practicing so hard these last 2 years to improve his lead guitar work and his solos, and I think it's definitely noticeable on the new album that he went through a really big improvement, and I'm really proud that we managed to accomplish that, and he managed to accomplish it as well. So, yeah.
Was like this conceptually considered to be like just a continuation of Chapel of Appearance, or do you think that this is almost in a way kind of like a new beginning for Carnation?
Well, there's definitely when you're looking lyrically or thematically, there's definitely some overlap here and there. But if we're going for musically, I think we have our foundation that we created with Chapel of Abhorrence. But with the second one, we wanted to try some different things to maybe surprise the listeners or to maybe keep it a little bit, interesting for us to maybe do something a little different compared to the first one. So I think we found our identity with the first one, but we maybe wanted to add some small changes to it with the second one. And it's always quite a tough thing to do because you don't want to change too much because you got a fan base and you want to stay loyal to them, and you also like what you've created, but you also don't want to write the completely same record as the first one because it's not so interesting as a musician to write the same thing again. So we wanted to change a little, but not too much, and stay in between those two boundaries. And I think we managed to do that quite well.
Yeah, it's not like it's really a continuation of the last record. It's just more or less like a continuation of the evolution, right?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Yep. Was there kind of like a preconceived idea on how these songs came to be? Did you kind of have a vision beforehand, or was there a little bit of improvising involved in the songwriting process?
Most of the riffs, actually, Jonathan writes most of the riffs at home, our guitar player. And when he has riffs that he thinks that fit together, he takes them to the rehearsal room. Then we all 5 get together and we start listening to those riffs that he created. Then we start thinking maybe we can put them in this order, maybe we can play them faster, play them slower, maybe we can repeat here and there. And that's how we really work on structure for songs. And that's how most Carnation songs are made, I would say. There's a couple of other songs on this album that were really quite improvised, like in a jam that we were going at it, and suddenly we had a 5 going, and we created half a song from something like that. So yeah, it can be in different ways that we create songs, but I would say mostly it comes from Jonathan's personal workspace.
Mm-hmm. Has there ever been a time where you had lyrics or maybe a certain subject matter that you wanted to sing about, and that can maybe help dictate the direction of the music?
I think it's always quite hard for me to go with lyrics first and music later. To me, it feels kind of forced to create music around lyrics. or to like have lyrics and paste them on a piece of music that isn't written yet. So I always write the lyrics after the music is done. It feels more natural to me. It creates a better flow for the lyrics and the vocals. It also gives me the opportunity to rhyme very easily on like the patterns that we have created. So I always try to write the lyrics after the music is already made. So yeah.
Okay, and like, because I've always thought that like you know, the lyrics and really just the overall aggression, like, you know, starting with Iron Discipline and, you know, like with songs like Serpent's Breath and Spirit Excision and, you know, the title track where Death Lies, there's like a constant element of aggression incorporated on here. Are the lyrics like, do you address the lyrics from a more personal standpoint, or do you almost kind of like look outwards from yourself to come up with lyrics?
Most of the lyrics are actually created when, well, first for this album, all songs were written. So the instrumental songs were written, all 9 of them. And then I took all 9 of them and I started listening to them like on repeat for hours, days, weeks. I must have listened to the instrumentals maybe 500 times or something. I don't know, but really a long time. And while I'm listening to those songs, after a while, I start getting like these ideas of what these songs give me, some kind of inspiration or a vibe or a theme or an idea in my head, and that's how I create lyrics for the songs. It's not like I have an idea that's completely separate from the music and I start just pasting it on it. It's more like I get a vibe or a certain kind of atmosphere from the music that's already created, and I try to put that vibe into words and to create a lyric that would fit with the vibe that I'm getting from the music. And that's how I've always approached the lyrics for Carnation, at least.
If you were to like listen to like an instrumental music that's like nothing in the style of Carnation, would you still be able to maybe think of lyrics that would go along with that?
I would have to try that to know how it would go, but I always search for like atmospheres and vibes in music. I'm the person that really is always looking for some kind of feeling or some kind of something extra in the music, and that's really just it's that kind of search for me also translates in how I work around music. So yeah, I think I would approach it the same way for other music as well, but I guess the end result would be quite different lyrically.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what's funny is like, because you mentioned that you need to feel a vibe and an atmosphere off the music, but you mentioned you've also had to listen to the music like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of times. Do you find that like it's harder to maybe like maintain that vibe or maintain that spark the longer you listen to it and even work on it?
Actually, after like so many times of listening to it, it's like I start knowing the song like the back of my hand or something, and the more I know the song, the easier it is for me to like get extra ideas. Because when I'm not familiar with the song, I get too distracted or something, or I'm not really. It's actually the more I listen to the song, the more I really start to feel it. So yeah.
Okay, that's rare, because sometimes people like really want to try to get on with it as quick as possible because they feel like it captures more of a moment or something like that.
For me, it's not the same, no. I really listen to the songs a lot. I'm also quite a little bit of a, well, I wouldn't say perfectionist on it, but I really like to really work it out, like how I'm going to fit the lyrics on it. So I'm just listening to it again and again until I'm like really satisfied with the lyrics that I have for the certain parts. So, yeah.
That's impressive. That's impressive. And I'd imagine that, you know, when you record it and, you know, and then of course you're playing it live, it has to feel like so liberating, right?
Yeah, definitely. I can remember the recording session back earlier this year, and it was very satisfying to finally like record the songs and to see the songs really take shape. And I'm still super satisfied with how we created the album, and we did some things that I was not planning to do beforehand, some things that we actually came up with in the studio. I'm not really talking lyrically, but more like vocal sounding. And I'm really happy that we did some other stuff that we plan to do. And yeah, I can't wait to play them live, but it's quite tricky to do live shows at the moment.
Yeah, but it'll definitely be worth the wait.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at the entire like catalog of Carnation, from Where Death Lies to Chapel of Appearance to even the Cemetery of the Insane EP, like, do you almost look at these as like a self-portrait or maybe kind of like a representation of who you are at a particular time?
It's definitely. I wouldn't like quite literally from the lyrics like mirror myself to it, but I can definitely see like some elements to what we've created at those certain points in time that do represent me or that have an influence on who I am at that point. That's definitely true, but it's not like the lyrics are like taken from my personal life or something. That's not really my writing style, I would say.
Yeah, it almost seems like you use music more as an escape from who you are rather than...
Most definitely. I really like the idea of creating stories or like fictional worlds, really, and that's what I try to do with the lyrics for both albums. And yeah.
Do you think it would be better if with listening to Where Death Lies, do you think a listener would maybe have a better understanding if they started off with Iron Discipline and then ended with In Chasm's Abysmal, or do you think that they could approach this album from any different angle?
I think you can approach it from any angle. It's not like it's conceptual that you have to start with like the first song to understand the story. It's more like it has a certain theme, and most of the songs are connected to that theme, but it's not like in a chronological order or something. That's not how it is.
Okay.
But yeah, I try to, because most lyrics for this album were written in the same period, most of the themes of all the songs are like connected. So yeah, there's definitely a red line that connects.
Yeah, this album is very shuffle friendly, as I call it.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I would agree.
Going back to using music as a means of escaping yourself, because I've noticed that even with like in your photo shoots, like, you know, your band really thrives a lot on imagery as well. Do you almost feel like maybe in the album and even when you're playing live, you're almost kind of like portraying a character, sort of?
Yeah, I can see that point of view. The visual aspect for me is just something that I find really personally important, because it's a way for me to really experience the live show or the music to a next level. Every time I get like prepared for a live show, it really gives me that extra something that I need to like give like this performance that I want people to see. So it's just I like it when people like it, but it's mostly done for myself also because I really love doing this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Do you almost like have to channel a similar energy into recording as you do when you're live? Like, are you kind of just as much in character when you're in the vocal booth as when you're on the stage?
It's a little different. It's of course hard to like get the exact same vibe as live on stage, but I do try to like in my head like think about how I would do it on stage, or what it would feel like to do it on stage, or how I would like to get it captured or something. So it's definitely in my head, the live aspect, or I try to recreate it in my head, the live vibe, but it's very difficult to like get that same atmosphere in a studio setting.
Yeah.
But at least we try.
So for your listeners, if they really want to get to know who you guys are, like just listening to the album is almost like the tip of the iceberg. If a listener really wants to know what Carnation is all about, they should come to your live shows, because then they'll get the full experience.
Yeah, I think so. I think playing live is definitely our strong suit. I think our songs that we've created are good, but I think they work live even better. And you just get that extra adrenaline that the songs are energetic, but you just get that little bit more live, something that you just can't get from a record or something. So I think our best representation is during a live show, most definitely.
But I'd imagine that, like, and also when you, because you mentioned that, touring for the last album had helped influence the making of this album, I'd imagine that maybe when you're playing live, you come up with some new ideas as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like between shows or after a show, you might get like influence from a certain experience or certain thing that happened, or maybe a certain band you played with or something, like a vibe or an atmosphere that can give you an idea or something. So yeah, it definitely works that way.
Yeah. Well, here comes the question. You kind of, in a way, just answered this question, but I started asking a lot of artists because in the end, when you're playing live, it is just, taking the material that's on the album and replicating it in a live setting. So is there anything remotely creative about playing live?
They're creative. I do think ideas can be born during a live show. Maybe musically it's quite hard to like create an idea during a show, but I think lyrically it definitely is possible to have like an idea that comes from an experience during a live show or something that happened or some energy or something that you felt. But I think musically the other guys in the band, they're probably too focused on trying to play the songs correctly.
Yeah, the music is very technically impressive. I don't think they really want to, focus on anything else other than their instrument when executing this material live.
I think so too. We always try to practice real hard to like get it as tight as possible, and I think it's definitely one of our strong suits, the technicality and the strong performance live. So yeah.
Yeah. Are any of you guys classically trained?
I don't think so, actually. Our guitar player and our bass player both have a lot of experience in audio engineering. Like, they're quite handy with recording software and mastering and mixing stuff, but we're not like classically trained in our instruments, no.
You have no idea on how helpful that is, though, if they have the mastery in mixing and engineering. That's because that's almost at this point like just as much of an instrument that you need to practice and study. And so that's really awesome that you have band members who can actually perfect that.
That's definitely helpful. Like our bass player, he mixed the record, so it's super helpful for us. He really has an ear for it, so it gives us a lot more time, actually, because when you go to a recording studio, you're quite limited in time. You have a budget or something, or you calculate like 7 days for this instrument or 5 days for this one, but we have our own facility and our own like producer or something, I could say, and we can like take like days extra for instruments if we feel like we need more time. So that's quite cool.
Yeah, it also has to make it like a little bit more organic too, right? Because everything is coming from you guys. It's not really like there's any like outside sort of input that helps dictate you guys.
Yeah, exactly. It feels very. Yeah, it's fun to like do it yourself, I guess, in a way. We did get like mastering done for both records by someone else, because if you're like weeks into a project and you just lose the bigger picture, and then you just want some outside inputs. But it does feel great to be able to create a record from 0 to 100, or like almost completely on our own. So yeah, that definitely feels great.
Definitely. And the final question I wanted to ask you is regarding the metal scene in Belgium, where you guys are from. I was curious because, like, being that Belgium, I feel like it's a small country, but, you're surrounded by the Netherlands and France and Germany, and, you're able to sort of travel throughout Europe a lot. Is there kind of like an active metal scene, though, in Belgium where you guys are from, or is the goal for Carnation to kind of like go outside your borders a little bit more to get the name out?
Well, there's definitely a scene here in Belgium, no doubt about it. There's a lot of cool bands. We have a lot of friends here that we hang out with at shows and at festivals, and there's definitely a good vibe. It's not like they're all death metal bands. We got some heavy metal bands, some thrash metal bands, and some other kind of metal bands here and there. So we know a lot of them, and we're good friends with them, and we try to help out each other when we can. But of course, Belgium is a small country, so we're also, of course, thinking about like other European countries. Europe in general is also quite small, so we're always looking for opportunities in like Germany or other places in Europe. Yeah, we have a lot of friends in other European countries or across the world. So yeah.
Is there a chance you could possibly bring Carnation to the States?
We've been hoping for it for quite a while now, and we've been looking for opportunities, but it's definitely difficult. It's the cost for visas and stuff is quite large, and then you have, of course, touring costs and stuff. So we're looking for the perfect opportunity to come over and to do like a good tour, like get a lot of good areas in. But it should happen sooner or later. I just can't really tell exactly when.
Yeah, well, it'll definitely be worth the wait. I could tell you, we would love to have you come here.
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of good responses from people in the US, so I think it would definitely be an interesting trip for us, and it would be cool to hang out at a lot of cool places, I think, so, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be waiting for you. We definitely need to let out some anger from the times that we live in. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time. Just the new album, Where Death Lies, coming out September 18th. Is there anything you would like to promote in terms of your merch? Is there any live stream performances that we could possibly be expecting? Or obviously when all this is over, we'll be seeing Carnation on the road quite a bit, right?
Yeah, first off, I would like to thank you for the interview. And yeah, well, the new album is coming out pretty soon. I'm not sure when this will air, but it's coming out on September 18th.
It'll air by midnight.
It'll air by midnight. Okay, perfect. So next week the album will be out. We're not really doing any live stream shows anymore. We did one in the summer, but I'm not quite sure if it's our fit. It's quite strange playing without an audience, but it was fun. Yeah, so I would say check out the album. It comes out next week, and thank you for listening.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody. We are here with Simon of Carnation, Where Death Lies, coming out September 18th via Season of Mist. Be sure to pick it up then. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.